from lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota, and 6footmama.com. This is Still Growing with Jennifer Ebling. Still Growing is a gardening podcast dedicated to helping you and your garden grow. Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Still Growing, and thank you for listening. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. Well, I want to welcome new members to our listener community in Facebook. We had a lot of new members asked to join this week, and they include Paulette Roan, Denise Pugh, Peggy Riccio of the DC area. In fact, Peggy is a blogger and she blogs at pegplant.com. So Peg as in the name Peggy, P-E-G, plant.com. And her blog is all about gardening news, resources, and plants in the Virginia, Maryland, and DC area. In fact, Peggy reached out because she's putting together a list of suggestions for things that people might want to bring if they're planning to attend the next annual Garden Bloggers Fling, which happens to be in the DC area. In fact, Peggy was inspired to write that blog post after listening to the 3-part episode we did on the 3 days of the Garden Bloggers Fling that was just this year in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'm really thrilled that Peggy's doing this. I think it's a great idea. And I'm totally over the moon excited that she was inspired by those 3 episodes. So that's fantastic. Other new members this week include Karen Pellicero, Beverly Bells, our 100th member this week, Lauren Gill, and Ein Kadena. So welcome you guys to the Facebook group. And of course, if you really like the show, I'd like to invite you to join the Still Growing podcast group on Facebook. It's a great place to ask questions. You can share your own garden stories, and you can interact with the great guests that are featured on the Still Growing podcast. And here's the secret. It's also where I post all of the really awesome garden giveaways and promotions from my guests and sponsors for my lucky listeners. And starting next year, I'll be adding in some bling from the Still Growing podcast because we'll be doing more on the Zazzle store, and those things will be also offered as prizes for listeners of the show. So go ahead and check it out. I'd love to meet you in the Still Growing podcast group on Facebook. Now, this week, our lucky listener is Lauren Gill, our 100th member of our listener community on Facebook. And Lauren, I am sending you something really special from the Still Growing podcast. So welcome to Lauren, and you're the very first person to get official merchandise from the show. Again, congratulations, and welcome to the Still Growing podcast group on Facebook. And if you're interested in joining the group, all you have to do is go to Facebook, and then in the search bar, type Still Growing podcast group, and our group will pop right up. Now, it's going to look like a closed group, but just go ahead and request to join, and then once I verify that you're not a robot or a spammer, I'll admit you to the group, and then you're in. That's it. The other option that you have, if you struggle with Facebook in the search bar, and I know plenty of people that do, is go to 6footmama.com. That's my website, the number 6, FTMAMA.com, 6footmama.com. And right there in the menu bar, I have a tab to the Facebook group for Still Growing, and it'll take you right to the group. And again, you'll have to request to join, but once you're in, you'll see all of the great posts that get shared with that group. It's also a place where I curate content for listeners of the show throughout the week in between episodes. So one of the things I'm sharing this week is a lovely post that was just shared by Shelley Cram. And she's the author of The Gardener's Bible, which was an episode that just debuted on the 25th of November as part of our Thanksgiving weekend show, and it will get rebroadcast again the weekend of Christmas. But she wrote a wonderful little post about the Manger scene. In fact, her post is called The Magnificence in the Manger, and she writes about some of the horticultural aspects that take place in the Manger scene. And you can read all about that post in the Facebook group for the Still Growing podcast, or you can also find out more if you want to read more of Shelley's posts. Go to her blog at gardenindelight.com. And I love, after interviewing Shelley, I learned that the Garden of Eden, the word Eden, means garden in delight. So that's the perfect name for Shelley's blog. Well, other things that have been curated for the group this week include, I'll give you a little list here to kind of tantalize you a bit, a little something from Peg Riccio, our new member. She put a post up about December 2016 gardening events in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So it's a nice compilation. And if you happen to be going to D.C. for the holidays, it's a post that you're going to want to check out. I found an article that was just a treasure in the Telegraph, and it was written by Elizabeth Grice and published at the end of November. And it was all about Penny Snell, who's been the driving force behind the National Garden Scheme for many years. And Elizabeth pays her a visit, and the article is called Meet the Garden Talent Spotter. I have to tell you how this article starts out, okay? Are you ready? It says, I'd absolutely slit my throat if he ever said he was going to leave me. And then Elizabeth goes on to write, I wonder if the man in Penny Snell's life has any idea how much he means to her. And of course, the man that Penny is referring to is her gardener. This article is just delightful because Penny's amazing personality completely shines through. In fact, her landscape gardener, Anthony Knoll, said, she's the most theatrical person I've ever met outside the theater. She charms everybody, but is the most hardworking person I know. And Elizabeth Grice says that she was the woman who traveled the length and breadth of the country, welcoming newcomers, giving hope and advice to those whose gardens didn't quite measure up, but one day surely would. She was the one who pounced on shy gardeners, convincing them to join. She's funny, down-to-earth, enthusiastic, difficult to ignore, and this is a one-of-a-kind article about a true treasure in the gardening community. So you've got to read this article. Well, former guest of the show, Lori Neverman of the blog Common Sense Homesteading, wrote a post back in October about how to make elderberry syrups and jellies. And this was so sweet because her friend Tammy had seen a comment where she was wanting to experiment with elderberries, but she didn't know quite what to do with them. So her friend Tammy comes to the rescue and completely goes at it with gusto. And as a result of all of this, Lori ends up sharing not only how to process fresh elderberries, but also how to make elderberry syrup and elderberry jelly with fresh elderberries or juice if you don't have fresh elderberries, and an easy recipe for a small batch of immune-boosting elderberry syrup with dried elderberries. So if you pick elderberries or you grow elderberries and you haven't picked them, this would be a great resource for you. Well, do you grow or eat artichokes? There was a lovely post in Botanical Accuracy in late November, and it was all about the anatomy of artichoke heads. It's got a fantastic diagram, and then it walks through all of the parts of an artichoke so that you can correctly name them. So if you've ever wondered about artichoke anatomy and you're looking for more terminology than just the outer petals of the artichoke, this is a really great graphic, something that you might want to print and hang on to. The last three curated posts show a lot of ingenuity. The first are these tiny floral tattoos that you can put on your hands, temporary or permanent. And this was shared by Hello Giggles, and they really found some wonderful floral tattoos. So if you're bored or you just need a little bit of nature in your life and you don't have the ability to go outside because it's getting colder, floral tattoos might help quench your desire for flowers. Along the same lines, Instructables.com shared how to make a gold duct tape flower headband. So this is a flower headband that they showed on a little girl, maybe at going to a Christmas party or something like that. And the lady that created this had said that she'd been admiring all sorts of gold floral headbands online, but could not justify the cost because they were ranging anywhere between $500 and $800. And she wanted to use this for her 3-year-old. So she said, you know what? I decided I might as well hack it. And especially now that duct tape carries a beautiful shade of gold. It's a really, really great piece. If you're looking to do floral art with gold duct tape, you can create this headband or something else that might inspire you. Well, I've spent the morning going through all of the articles and notes that I've made to myself as I've been putting together my 2016 gift guide for gardeners. And I'm a shopper, so this was like having a virtual shopping expedition. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be so fun. So if you're not a shopper and you're looking for ideas, hopefully this will be a source of inspiration for you. And if you love to shop, we are going to shop together virtually today. Now, I shop in a number of different ways. I'm a thrift store shopper. I love to create things for people. So crafts are something that I like to consider as I'm putting together Christmas gifts. And of course, I love to actually shop. So we're going to do a little bit of all three today as we're going through the guide. We're going to go to the thrift store together and look for some deals. We're going to buy some crafts and put some things together. And we're going to do some shopping, both online and perhaps at some of your local stores. So why don't we get started by going to the thrift store, going through to your local Goodwill or other thrift store. And this is going to be a targeted list, things that you can look for. And my guess is you'll find at least a couple of these that you can then transform into a gift for the gardener in your life. My very first thing that I would suggest that you look for when you go to Goodwill or your thrift store is tongs. Now, why would a gardener want tongs? One word: cactus. If you're working with cactus or with roses, tongs come in handy. And I love to pick up a pair of tongs when I'm at a thrift store because they are nice to have. They're usually stainless steel, and I can just leave them outside on a hook, and usually in the area where I have, the sharp plant, and then the tongs are there. So tongs are a great thing to find at a thrift store, usually just for a couple of dollars. And gardeners who haven't used them in the past may question this gift choice, but I'm telling you, once they start to use tongs in their garden, they'll come up with so many more uses. So give tongs a go. You'll probably find them. They're easy to find. If you're putting together a basket of lovely little things for the gardener in your life, maybe your mom, maybe your grandmother, or even for a garden friend, tongs should be on your list. Now, I saw this next idea in Country Living, and I saved it because I thought it was adorable. But it's a Yuletide idea that's definitely worth its salt. And what you do is you turn salt shakers into mini winter wonderlands by throwing in maybe some toy evergreens or a little deer, a little character in the salt shaker. And then the salt becomes the snow. Another idea with this would be to find like a Parmesan cheese shaker, because that would be a little bit easier to work with, a little bit bigger, but they're also usually very easy to find at thrift stores. And you can make kind of this adorable little winter wonderland out of the common salt shaker or cheese shakers. So consider that as an option, something kind of fun. This isn't necessarily gardening related, this next idea that I had, but I love it. It just brings me so much joy. And I think as gardeners, we love our porches, and we want our porches to look so cute and inviting, especially in the holiday season. And over the years, I have collected a few articles that pertain to decorating with outdoor gear. And two of the posts that have caught my eye over the last decade have to do with using ice skates. So some people take the ice skates, a small pair of ice skates, like a child's pair of ice skates, and they just hang them inside of a wreath. So whatever your normal Christmas wreath would be, you just tie the skates together and you just hang them on top of the wreath. It's adorable. Now, what I did is instead of putting them on the wreath, I just set them by the welcome sign on my front porch. I've got a big bucket of pine cones. I've got this kind of resin deer that looks very lifelike, and he's surrounded by fur. and greens. And then right below this is a welcome sign that says, "Welcome, y'all." And this adorable little pair of white skates is there. And I think it only cost me $5. So we do not skate. We're too tall to skate in our family. That's what I always tell the kids. We are not skating. But I love the look of the ice skates on the porch. And the only way that we were going to get ice skates was by going to a thrift shop. So that's what we did. All right, so this next post has to do with a boot tray idea. And a simple boot tray idea is a basket, a long, flat basket that you can set at your back door or again on the porch. And it looks really adorable with boots in it, but it's something very sweet for gardeners. And I think gardeners always like to have their gardening boots or their winter boots or their wellies, whatever they are using for boots, kind of nicely positioned right outside the door or right inside the door. And the boot tray is fantastic. So try using a wicker basket with a low profile or a wicker tray. Now, what you could do is take the flat basket and fill it with gardener gifts. And then as they're taking the gifts out of the basket, you can say, hey, this very flat basket can also double as your boot tray. So if you're putting together maybe a gardening themed gift, you can use the basket, this very flat tray, as the foundation for that gift. This next idea has come in so handy to me over the years, and it's all about putting together just a nice little compilation of silverware that the gardener in your life can use when they're out in their garden. And I'm talking mostly about knives and forks here because they work the best in the garden. But I have a few terracotta pots that are set in kind of discreet places throughout my garden, and inside them are just a nice little set of forks and knives. So what do I use these for? Well, I tell you what, when you're walking through the garden and you don't have anything in your hand and you see a weed or you see something that you need to deal with, being able to quickly grab that fork and use it to pry out a weed or take a knife. I love it when I find decorative steak knives, something kind of pretty, all stainless steel, that I can use out in the garden. And they're very, very handy. In fact, there are a lot of times that when I'm out in the garden with the student gardeners that my whole terracotta pot full of silverware all of a sudden disappears because they get used that much. And then we have to kind of go around, find them all, and put them all back in the terracotta pot. And I'm very guilty about this too. I'll use, for instance, a fork and be digging, and then I just kind of pop it in the soil and I don't put it back. But this is something that's so practical and so helpful to gardeners as they're out in the garden, kind of like the tongs. So throw some silverware in the gift basket as well. Now, here's something that always makes me chuckle when I find it because I love it so much. And of course, no one is doing this with these, but this is what I do with them. So I'm on the lookout for petite cocktail tables. I'm talking about the kind of really teeny tiny metal tables that almost look like a plant stand, but really they're a table that you might set beside a chair to hold a drink. They are perfect in the garden and they do double duty. First, they can be used to prop up next to a bench where you need to be able to set things if you're sitting there, maybe your book or your drink if you're outside, but also they can double as a plant stand. So I'm talking about the very, very diminutive tables that are completely weatherproof because they're metal. And even if they kind of get that rusted patina look, they still look fantastic. And so be on the look for those. Another thing that's pretty easy to come across in Goodwill is an iron or metal urn. These are the old, usually pretty heavy cast iron urns that a lot of times people kick out of the house this time of year because they're just tired of it. They don't want to have to deal with it. But I tell you what, after Christmas, it's orchid season. There are orchid shows all over, and the classic look for orchids is to put 2 or 3 in a metal urn, maybe put them in a tray on a table on this urn, and you've got the Spanish moss all around the beautiful orchids. So I'm always on the lookout for urns this time of year. And if you get lucky, you might find some. them. So keep that in mind if you're in the metal aisle. Well, here are 2 storage ideas for your gardeners. One is to buy a vintage suitcase or a vintage picnic basket. I love finding old picnic baskets from the Burlington Basket Company, but really anything that's still very sturdy, and most people do a great job of kind of tucking their picnic baskets away, and they're almost like preserved in time. So usually if you find them in a thrift store, they're still going to be stocked. They're going to have silverware. There's your silverware for your gardener. They might even have mugs and plates, or even a lovely plaid tartan throw inside, or a blanket. So picnic baskets are a great find. And again, the basket itself can double as the package for your gift. Well, here's one I'm on the lookout for. And if you find it, call me. I'm going to be so jealous. But it's an old antique bottle drying rack. Oh my gosh. If you run across one of those, you've got to buy it, because I saw the absolute cutest use for those ever, and it was to put terracotta pots on. So they put terracotta pots in a potting shed all around this antique bottle drying rack, and it added such a wonderful earthy style to the room. It was gorgeous. So I'm on the lookout for them. We don't usually have a lot of that type of thing in Minnesota, but you never know. On the other hand, here's something that I was lucky enough to find, and I'm betting that you might run across it as well, and that is an old wooden ice cream maker. So I found one that looks very much like the one that you might find at whitemountainproducts.com. These things, brand new, go for $200. I'm talking about the vintage old ones. They're about 2 feet high. They've got the hardware on top with that little handle that turns. When I ran across mine, it actually was missing pieces of the hardware, but it still had 2 big metal straps that were riveted into the side. So when I got home with it, I took the straps off, and then I sprayed the outside of it with a coat of polyurethane, including the adorable little black and white foil label that said ice cream maker. And that's what I use to plant my lavender in. And it's adorable. People comment all the time. So the ice cream maker turned into plant container is a wonderful idea, and it adds a lot of warmth and character to the garden. Well, this next idea was something I ran across in an old issue of FamilyHandyman.com. And it was a tip that was written in by Emil Gaynor, and he called it the root cutting shovel. And so what he did is he took his shovel and he made a small V at the tip of the shovel, or a trowel with a file or a grinder. So you keep it sharp with a file, and then the V that's at this tip, it's a very small little V, will trap and slice the roots as you dig. I thought this was a great idea. You can do this to a shovel that you might find at a thrift store, or you can do it to your own shovels at home. I thought it was a great tip, no pun intended. Well, I love this next idea, and it's something very, very sweet, and you have a good chance of success of finding it at your thrift store. And what I'm talking about is either a covered clear candy dish, or even one of those footed bowls, like maybe even a color, like a green, that olive green from the 70s, or a gold. They're back in style. And one of the things that you run across every now and then when you're in garden stores is the mix of having an element of nature displayed in some really fancy cut glass piece, or inside a cloche, for example. So what I would do here is find an adorable candy dish, maybe from the 70s, or a clear glass candy dish that has a lid on it. And then inside, you can tuck a bird's nest. Maybe it's something you found this summer, or something that you know is under your deck. You can grab the nest, pop it inside, and it's just sweet as pie. Beautiful. Well, we are almost through our thrift store shopping together, and we need to take a moment to go down the sweater aisle. Now, what are we going to do with sweaters? Well, we're going to look for sweaters that are either a solid color or maybe a neutral stripe. So maybe black and gray or black and white, something very, very simple. And what we'll do is after we buy the sweaters, we're going to come home with them and we're going to cut the sleeves into little warm-ups for terracotta pots. So what you do is you take the cuff or the entire sleeve of an old sweater and you make these beautiful little cozies for some ordinary terracotta pots. So just cut the sleeve off to fit the pot, and you can add an extra inch or so if you want to kind of tuck it or have a scrunched look. And then you just slip it over the pot, and you can even pop in an LED candle inside, or you can put maybe a little pot of succulents inside. But that's fun and easy and simple, and it really elevates the terracotta pot for winter. Speaking of elevating, if you run across a pedestal, either like a cake pedestal or a cake stand, those are fantastic for gardeners because, of course, we can use it to elevate plants or pots, containers, what have you. I absolutely love stumbling across a pedestal. You can pop a cloche over the top and they're instantly classic and they're so functional and usable. You cannot pass up a pedestal for a gardener if you find one. Another super fun pedestal of sorts for a gardener is a scale, one of those old-fashioned kitchen models from the early part of the 1900s, or even maybe something vintage from the 1950s or 60s. So if you find a beautiful old scale, don't pass that up either because they make fabulous plant stands as well. Now here's one last stand idea for you, and I'm a magazine ripper, so I have been saving magazine articles that I adore for decades. And this one I found in Better Homes and Gardens back in 2014. And they were showing this beautifully staged porch party. So they had this buffet set out and it was gorgeous, of course, to die for. And what they showed is a beverage dispenser, you know, one of those cool, big, old glass jars that has the spigot on top. Well, they were featuring spa water with cucumber and mint, and it was just glorious. And what was even more ingenious is the stand that they used for this beverage dispenser. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and you can find it at Goodwill. What they used is a glass salad bowl. So imagine a glass salad bowl, a pretty substantial flat bottom, very large base on this salad bowl. So a very large, low profile cylinder salad bowl. That's what they used as the stand for this beverage dispenser. But what makes it even more cool are two things that they did that just took it right over the moon for me. First, they took a beautiful fern leaf and they placed the bowl over the fern leaf. So the salad bowl tipped upside down becomes, wait for it, a terrarium. Yes, it becomes a little terrarium. So you could put either live plants underneath this large upside down salad bowl, or you could just do cuttings. I mean, imagine at Christmas time, you could do these beautiful, greens and gorgeous spruce tips from the forest. You could go out and forage and put a little nest in there, or tree branches or some birch bark, whatever your heart desires. I mean, you could even throw some of that fake snow in there. It would be adorable. And then what they did is they put a cork trivet on top. And I loved that idea because, of course, if you've got a glass beverage dispenser, you do not want glass rubbing on top of glass, especially if you've got kids around. So that cork trivet is going to act as kind of a stabilizer and a little bit of a buffer, kind of a pad between those two pieces of glass. So give that a try. I know I am going to use it at my Christmas party this year, and I'm so excited about it. Anyway, let's all be on the hunt for a big, cylindrical, low-profile salad bowl. Now, a really great option for an indoor container is either a champagne bucket, if you can find one, or an ice bucket. And you can almost always find an ice bucket. I love to find a leather-wrapped ice bucket because they make really upscale containers for indoor plants. Now, if you find a champagne bucket, you just pat yourself on the back. I don't think you should give that away. You just tuck that away and keep it for yourself because it's so hard to find them and they're gorgeous. And I'll be so jealous. So enjoy. Well, we've got 7 items left and then we're leaving the thrift store and we're going shopping out in the real world. So here we are. We're going down the aisle with frames. So what we're looking for here is something super ornate, lots of gold gilding or maybe an antique frame that's falling apart a little bit. We don't care. We're looking for a super heavy duty frame. And what we're going to do is buy this frame, and if it's not already gold gilded, we're going to buy some metallic paint, some gold metallic paint, or maybe even silver, and we're going to spray the frame into a very heavy ornate gold. And then we're going to take a piece of plywood and fill the back of the frame with this plywood. We're going to paint that plywood with chalkboard paint and simply write on there, "Welcome to the garden." Those are so fantastic for in the summertime when you're having a party outside. And the contrast between the ornate, heavy gold frame and then the simple chalkboard interior is awesome. And here's something else that I love to look for when I'm thrift shopping, and that is a tall cylindrical vase that can double for a cloche when it's turned upside down. So what you're looking for is a tall cylindrical vase that can stand in for a cloche. Now, another item that we're looking for is a cast iron skillet. Why do we want a cast iron skillet? Because you can take your cast iron skillet and hang it on your fence or on your door to your potting shed or inside your potting shed, maybe on your workbench, and all of a sudden you have a magnetized surface for displaying your plant labels and tags. It's really, really cute. I saw this once when I went to visit a friend who had her brand new potting shed. And don't forget to tie a ribbon around the handle. That really makes it so cute. Now, if you're at the thrift store and you run across an old watering can, one of those old galvanized metal watering cans, repurpose that baby into a container and then fill it with some type of plant material or arrangement for your gardening friend, and that makes a lovely gift as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Okay, so we are now in the home stretch and we have 2 things left to find. One is a valance. We want a buffalo check valance that we can use as a skirt for our potting bench. Now, you might actually get lucky and find a valance brand new still in the package. That happens occasionally here. Things get clearanced out in retail stores, and then when they don't sell, they get donated to Goodwill or other thrift stores. So that's how I found my wonderful valance of the buffalo check plaid that I have for my potting bench, and I absolutely love it. So that's a nice little feature, and then it kind of hides the mess under your potting bench. So if you've got a lot of pots or debris, little garden stuff that maybe doesn't look so good, it looks really messy if it's all just tucked under there, you can always hide it behind this lovely little buffalo check fabric. So look for that. And then last but not least is a canister. Now we're going to be looking for a sealed canister, a canister that's large enough to hold materials for your gardener, but also that seals up tight so that the elements can't get inside. So what are we going to put in there? Well, we can put matches in there. We could put a deck of cards in there. We could put some S-hooks in there, different things that your gardener might want, maybe even a pen, pencil, a little notepad, that type of thing. And it's just a little nice sealed canister to keep things dry if they have an outdoor area where they work. So a little bench or a little table, or even beside maybe an outdoor seating area. It's something where they can keep it and they don't have to lug everything back in the house. So that concludes our Goodwill thrift store shopping for Christmas. And now we're going to hit the stores. So whether we're shopping in actual brick and mortar or we're doing some shopping online, here are my picks for 2016. First up is from Burpee, their online store. They have a fantastic wild bird seed garland sampler. So you have to imagine that it's this adorable little red string, and attached to it are 6 unique and edible ornaments that come ready to hang. So they're in the shape of a star and hearts and different things for the birds, and it's made up of safflower, sunflower kernels, peanuts, sunflower black oil, and so on and so forth. So that is a fun little gift for the gardener. Nothing too expensive either. It's $19.95. So if you have someone that loves the birds, wants to feed the birds, this would be a great gift for that person. Well, Kat Stone and the folks over at greenprints.com sent me their latest book, and it's called Great Garden Quotes. And it's a coloring book that has wit, wisdom, and heart, and it's gorgeous. It's very pretty, and it's sweet. It's got a lot of nice little quotes in it. Earth Laughs in Flowers by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and this fun one by Ruth Stout. I love spring anywhere, but if I could choose, I would always greet it in a garden. So really fun book. If you have a gardener that you're shopping for that also likes to color, that would be a nice treat for them. And it's $14.95. And again, just go to greenprints.com. Next up, oh my gosh, I got these for myself. They're fantastic, and I'm a size 11, so I wasn't always a size 11, but 4 kids later, I'm now wearing a size 11. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Anyway, I absolutely love the Smith & Hawken Wellies that were at Target this fall, and they're still available online. In fact, it looks like they have a number of different choices, but my personal favorite are the Smith & Hawken very plain, simple gray Wellies. I love them so much. I bought 3 pair. Don't laugh. I definitely need them. So yeah, I won't go into it. But in any case, 3 pair I've got of these fantastic Wellies. They're $35. You can get them online at Target, and they're wonderful. They're definitely not too short or tight, so you can wear socks. You can go barefoot in them. However you want to wear your Wellies, you can do it. And these are great. So take my word for it. These are really wonderful. And they also clean up pretty well as well. So my trick to cleaning up Wellies is using the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. So give that a try. If you've got a gardener that's been asking for some and maybe can't find them, these would be a great option for you. Well, next up is a stocking stuffer, and this is a little matchbox that's adorned with 1950s French imagery. And so these little fire starters are really awesome for gardeners, and I'll put a link to the website in the Facebook group. So head on over and check it out. I can't pronounce it here, and I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to put the link in the group, and then if you're interested in looking at these really cool designed matchbooks for a stocking stuffer, you can find them in the group. Well, here is my absolute, hands down favorite garden tool in the world, and it's the Diggit, Diggit. So just Google Diggit Garden Hand Tools, and I believe they were sold in a nursery up here in Minnesota at one point, but I can't find them locally anymore. I can't source them that way. So I always go online and I order a couple at Christmas time because I just love them so much. Now they have an orange handle. I'm talking about the original Diggit garden hand tool because like so many garden hand tool companies, they started with this original tool and then they ended up creating kind of these sister and brother products that go along with it. But it is absolutely my favorite garden hand tool. So give it a try. See if it's something that you're interested in. It's $12 and it's got an orange handle, a bright orange handle, so you can't lose it. There are so many wonderful things about this garden tool. So if you use it, let me know. I'd love to hear your endorsement of it as well. I'm not an affiliate. I'm just a gardener that happens to really love this product. So I'm passing it along. Okay, here's something fun if you have a gardener that is a little bit of a techie. So you go to this Etsy shop and Google or search up when you're in Etsy, driftwood docking station for smartphones and tablets. This is by Dock Smith. So D-O-C-K Smith. And they design beautiful driftwood docking stations for devices. So whether it's for your iPad or your phones, these will accommodate all those different items, small tablets, large tablets. Anyway, it's nice to have sometimes a nature element for docking your smartphone or tablet. And I think the contrast always looks really cool. So give that a go. It looks like they range in price from $50 to $120. And the $120 one is this kind of deluxe one where you can not only charge your iPad, but your iPhone as well. So it's doing double duty. But they're a little spendy, but they're very, very cool looking. So give that a try if you're looking to spend a little bit more. Another thing that I absolutely love is this cocoon chair. It's kind of a cross between a tent and a hammock. And it's a weatherproof pod that kind of hangs. It looks like a teepee kind of hanging in the air. And it comes in 3 different sizes and 11 colors. So this cocoon is $250. It would be a more deluxe Christmas present. And you can get it at cocoonusa.com. Well, I love cafe lights, and there's 2 sources that have super cool cafe lights this year. One is Walmart. They have vintage cage lantern lights that are cafe lights, and they're $17.87 a package. And the other one is these cafe string lights that have kind of this galvanized metal shade, and they're a little more expensive, and they're at worldmarket.com. So they're $29.99, so $30 versus the $20 at Walmart for the other variety. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, something a little more sophisticated than just your standard string of cafe lights, these would be 2 great options. And most gardeners are delighted to get a brand new set of cafe lights because we all like to be in the garden at night. Okay, so this would be a stocking stuffer for a female gardener, and what it is are these Adodo bobby pins. These little original bobby pins are adorable. They've got cute little beaded flowers that are attached to the bobby pin, and they are an original creation by Leslie Arama in the Twin Cities. So she's a crafter, and she makes them on her Etsy shop. So it says here, add sweet sparkle to your hairdo with vintage style beaded flower hairpins. And you can find her by looking up Adodo Originals Bobby Pins. It's O-D-O-D-O. Great name. Okay, this next gift is handmade by Michelle Lindgren of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And she solders glass and metal to make gem-like terrariums for air plants. So she not only makes this really cool terrarium, but she includes the sand and decorative pebbles to finish the look. And the package actually also includes the air plant. So she encourages you to open it up when you get it and don't leave it in the package for Christmas. So you can find this on her Etsy shop at jekkeryglassdesigns.etsy.com, and they start at about $40. Here's another gift from an artisan at Batula.com. Heather Fagan crafts vases and bird ornaments, and even bracelets from bark and other natural materials harvested near her Carsonville, Michigan home. They are absolutely precious, and they range from $10 on up. So a very affordable item, but wonderful incorporation of nature into these very beautiful jewelry pieces. In November, Better Homes and Gardens did this piece called Obsessed with Woodsy Decor. And they said, we're loving the foraged from the forest look that feels so right this month. So it was perfect for November, but quite honestly, a lot of these things were perfect for gardeners. Let's start with the moss tablecloth. Gorgeous moss tablecloth, $32, so not necessarily the cheapest thing, but it's from Bellocchio.com. So that was really cute. They also had these wood slab chargers that are from Walmart. So those are $14.99. They were adorable. And then last but not least were these fern napkins. For a set of 2, they were $30, and it's from AmelieMancini.com. Now, here's a gift my kids would love, and a gardener with kids would probably love as well. And it's from Iowa Metal Works. Let's see. It is the Iowa Metal Art Triangle. So, you know those old dinner triangles? That's basically what this is. It's a fantastic price as well. It's $15, and it's from iowametaLart.com. So it's this metal triangle. It says, come and get it. Jeff and Kim Westfall forge 13-inch Western Cowboy Chuck Wagon dinner bells that ring so loudly that hungry neighbors might arrive as well. And I love having dinner bells or just general bells to ring outside when I want to get the kids' attention and have them come inside. So I have one on my porch, not a dinner bell, just a regular bell, but this would be a fantastic option. And for $15, I think it makes a great gardener gift. Okay, this next item was featured in Minneapolis Design Magazine back in October, and it said it was the number 9 hottest style design gift locally. And it said the word to know is kokedama, or string garden. This is the Japanese term for these moss balls that contain roots in mud and moss, and then the plant grows out of them. So they showed, for example, inside this moss ball that is attached to string, they had Hoyas growing in there, Scheffleras, all different kinds of string gardens. So they said, think of kokedama as a sculptural object hung from a hook or a curtain rod by a window. So I thought they looked really, really cute and super fun to water, because I'm imagining all you have to do is soak the moss ball and then let it kind of dry a little bit and then hang it right back up. Now, these are available at a lot of our nurseries here locally, but if you can't find them at a nursery, you should be able to find them online. This next item is something I'm so passionate about. These are the fake succulents that you can find in nice nurseries in your location. And the reason I include these is that, of course, in the wintertime, most of the succulents that I love so much can't be brought indoors. They need to be overwintered outside, and I usually bury a lot of them and then dig them up in the spring. But in the meantime, I like to use fake succulents indoors because I just love them so much. I love the look of them. And I did this crazy thing this summer where when I was at Tonkadale Nursery, I was putting together a collection of their fake succulents that I thought were just tremendous. And I went over to the actual succulent aisle where they had just a huge bench of succulents. And I took a tray of succulents and I popped out some of the containers that had real succulents, and then I placed the fake succulents right next to the real ones, and I took a picture. And real gardeners, really good gardeners, could not tell the difference between the fake succulents and the real succulents. That's how good they've gotten. And the majority of the ones I was buying were between $3 and $5. So if you go to a nursery and you buy, let's say, $20 to $25 worth of fake succulents, your gardener friend has a real treasure in fake succulents. They don't have to be watered. If they get dusty, all you have to do is rinse them off. And I think they are absolutely beautiful. It's totally stunning. Now, I'm going to tell you two things about how I used fake succulents this year in my own garden and home. The first thing I did is I had this really cool planter that I had set on a fence post when I was in the garden tour. And I had some donkey tail succulent in there that was kind of falling out, spilling out over the edge. It looked tremendous. But then there was kind of this dead spot right at the top. And the day of the garden tour, I was not going to go to a nursery and try to put something in this bare spot, but I did have a fake succulent, and this fake succulent was like this red, devil red, let's say, I don't even know what you call it. Laura Eubanks would know, but it was this huge succulent and it was a vibrant red. So I took that thing and I popped it in the planter, and it was the mystery plant of my garden tour. I can't tell you how many people I had come up to me and say, "What is that red flower?" They were totally blown away by it. And I was laughing the entire day. It was hilarious. I loved it. So sometimes you can fake people out with fake plants in your garden, especially when they look so realistic. It's kind of fun to do something like that. The other thing I did with my succulents, and this was kind of a good idea, I think, for a mom who loves to garden and has to be indoors in the wintertime. I have a tray on a coffee table in my family room, and this tray contains all of the office supplies that my kids regularly need to get their homework done. So it has things like rubber bands and, staples and binder clips and chapstick. I'm trying to think of all the little tchotchke kind of things that we have in this tray. But all of those items are in individual little clay pots. So what I did is I disguised the fact that each of those clay pots is holding office supplies, and I popped a succulent on top. And so visitors can't tell that it's really office supply storage. And the kids pride themselves on kind of playing this game of memory where they have to pick up the right succulent to find, let's say, an eraser or a binder clip. And I think it's hilarious. So that's part of what I did with my succulents indoors. But I encourage you, if you have a garden friend that loves succulents, get to the nursery and buy some decent fake succulents. I think you'll find that they're very affordable and they're very lifelike. Well, this next thing is something that I've done for myself. It's my gift to my own self this coming year, and it's a subscription to the brand new Milk Street magazine that Christopher Kimball is putting together. And by the way, I love being on his Facebook page because Milk Street Kitchen has the most fantastic articles and pieces about cooking and about, of course, incorporating plants into your cooking. So make sure if you have someone who's passionate about cooking or using their garden harvest, that you get them a subscription to this brand new magazine, Milk Street. I think they will really enjoy it. And in the meantime, get yourself liking their page because it really elevates your feed in Facebook or whatever social media platform you're following them on, because I love opening up my Facebook and finding out what new adventure they're doing next, and they're doing some really great things. Well, I interviewed Megan Kane, and she has her new book coming out in February, and it's going to be a garden planner. But in the meantime, I found a very nice printable garden planner from familyfoodgarden.com, and they're selling it on Etsy, and it looks very nice. It's very attractive. It's a 23-page printable garden planner. And it's coupled with this book that she's written called Planning and Designing the Family Food Garden. So check it out. It's at familyfoodgarden.com, and it looks like both pieces, the book and the planner, are available for $15.99. So you can help out a small garden entrepreneur here, as well as give a very functional gift to the gardener in your life. Well, here's an idea for the gardener that you may know that has a wrist injury, or maybe has battled some carpal tunnel, or just maybe even has some arthritis, and gardening is a challenge. And one thing you could do that would be a very considerate gift would be to go to Walgreens and get them some type of hand splint or stabilizer that they can wear while they're gardening. I know for myself, my wrist sometimes gets super tired if I spend too much time in the garden. And I had a friend actually bring me this splint that I can wear outside. And what I loved about that is now I don't have to worry about getting my indoor one dirty while I'm outside. So I've got one that I just wear for gardening, and then I have another one that I wear when I'm in the house if I'm sleeping or doing too much typing, that kind of thing. So there's all kinds of wonderful little splints and hand braces and thumb stabilizers, what have you, if you just go to Walgreens or CVS. But it's a very thoughtful gift, something that they can use solely for gardening. And it's kind of a luxury that people don't always think of when they're out in the garden. They don't think about, well, I should have a garden one that's dedicated just to my time outdoors. So that would be a very thoughtful gift on your part. Another thing I fell in love with is from farmhousewares.com. I actually fell in love with too many things from farmhousewares.com. So be careful on that website. But one of the things that they really have that's adorable is this picnic fly food protector. It's that wire covering that you'd put over your food if you're having a picnic. And it's so cute, and it's extremely affordable. And you can find it on their website at www.farmhousewares.com. Well, I also love the thoughtfulness of this gift idea, and that is to fill a galvanized tub with warm winter socks. So boot socks or short wool socks, whatever kind of sock deal you can find. My mom likes those what are they called? Cuddle duds, I think. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Fill the galvanized tub with some socks, maybe stuff it with some newspaper at the bottom so you can kind of fill it up a little bit, and then line the top with the socks, and then give that to the gardener in your life. And then I love the gifts that do double duty, like the galvanized tub and the socks, because they can repurpose the tub in any way they want when they get the gift. Well, this next gift is something that I received from a friend last year, and I fell immediately head over heels in love with it. And it's a metal chain garland from Peacock Park Design. So Google peacockparkdesign.com and look for their metal chain garland. So you have to imagine a metal chain that has big eye hoops on either end where you can attach it to a nail or something. And then you have these little clips that are stationed every 10 inches or so where you can clip things. Now you can clip things like plant seed packets or garden gloves or some type of garden decor, but this garland has come in so handy in arrangements or adding a little something extra to design ideas, and it's very affordable as well. Now, let's say you have a gardener friend that has their brand new potting shed, and you want to help christen that potting shed with the perfect industrial light fixture. Well, I have the perfect light fixture. It's a bell pendant lamp with this very rustic cage, and it's from ClaytonGrayHome.com. It's a little bit of an investment. It's $250, but it is my absolute favorite go-to fixture for potting sheds. So if you have someone that has a potting shed and they're looking for a light fixture, or even a gazebo and it's wired for electricity and they're looking for something that's heavier duty, very industrial looking, this fits the bill perfectly. If you go to barefootdreams.com, you will find my absolute favorite wrap for wearing out onto the porch on cooler mornings in the garden to sip my coffee. And it's called the Calypso Wrap. And my personal favorite is the one that's in pewter color, so it's kind of a gray. This would be kind of a nicer gift. It's $100, but it is so cozy. It's like wearing this very soft, cushy bathrobe, but it's not. And it's so versatile. It's really perfect. You can wear it either day or night. So it doesn't have to look too slouchy or anything like that. I think it actually looks kind of sophisticated, but it is so soft and so cozy. It remains one of the most used articles of clothing in my closet. I love this Calypso wrap. Well, this next gift is something that we use to kind of repurpose our old wooden swing set, and that's a hammock chair. So instead of having the swings on the swing set that the kids used when they were little, we've upgraded, and now we have 3 golden hammock chairs on our swing set. And then I also installed these ropes that also hang off the monkey bars. So when we're sitting in the hammock chair, all we have to do is reach up and pull gently on the rope to continue to swing. So I absolutely love the golden hammock chairs. And we found these at the state fair, but you can find them at some specialty stores, especially outdoor stores, if you're looking for one. We love it. And I love repurposing the swing set in this way. We had kind of an old rainbow system type swing set. It's not the rainbow system, but it's some kind of competitor to the rainbow system. In any case, that's how we kind of upgraded the swing set, and now we fight over the hammock chairs. So I love to be out there with my girlfriends. You can have a glass of wine, be in your hammock chair, pulling on the rope, gently rocking yourself. It's fantastic. And the great thing about using an existing swing set is you don't have to worry about falling. I found one of these on a garage sale one time, and the lady said the reason she was getting rid of it is that her husband had tried to install a hook under their deck, and he didn't install it strong enough, and she fell and hurt her back. So she had no desire to get back in a hammock chair after that experience. So I just used the existing hardware that was on this rainbow type play system that we have in the backyard, and I upgraded it to be a more adult playground set, and the kids and I love it. And it's the perfect spot to relax after a long day in the garden. So if you have a gardener that has an old play set that you think could support a hammock chair, consider getting them a hammock chair. They're so relaxing. This next idea is something that a gardener who is also a floral designer would super appreciate, and that is to go to a website like ribbonprinters.com and customize some ribbon. I would suggest in a very neutral color, either a green or a white or a black, and have it say, from Jennifer's garden or from Bob's garden, what have you. And then every time that they give a bouquet to someone, they can attach that ribbon and it'll have this special customized message. So there are a lot of companies online that do ribbon printing, but the one that I found and used and like is ribbonprinters.com. And you can pick the kind of ribbon that you want, and you can tell them even that you want a logo on it. So you've got a lot of different options, and if it's something that you're interested in, I suggest doing it sooner rather than later because they've got to print it. So it takes a little bit of time for that to happen. Now, this next idea is something that's been a best top product on familyhandyman.com, and it's screw tops for 5-gallon buckets. Now, I love these things because they seal the bucket up tightly and they make it a completely pest-proof container. So let's say you're using your 5-gallon bucket for birdseed. Well, you put this screw top on that's just $6 per lid at gammaseals.com, and it seals that bucket up tight. And they said, hands down, this lid is one of the top 10 products we've published in Family Handyman magazine. So all you do is snap on the outer ring, and then the top just spins shut. And you can also use it as a little bucket seat. So if you're using your bucket outside and you've got this container tightly sealed, you can just sit on the lid if you need a little garden stool. So this is a very fun, affordable, functional gift for a gardener. It's $6 per lid. And again, it's at gammaseals.com, GAMMA seals.com. Well, if you have a gardener that is also a seed saver, Gardener's Edge has these very cute little seed packets, paper seed packets, that are available in these pre-printed envelopes for the gardener that's also the seed saver. And then it's got space for them to write on what seed they're collecting and the date that they got it and where they got it and if they got it from a friend. So they're very, very cute, very, very functional, and they're $10 on gardenersedge.com. Adorable, kind of retro-looking seed packets, very simple and plain on brown paper. Just go to gardenersedge.com and type in seed packet and they'll pop right up. Well, these next 3 items are things that I bought and use in my own garden, and I thought I'd include them in this part of the list where we're talking about going to stores or shopping online. So this first thing is something that you can get from Lowe's, and it's the Garden Rocker by Vertex. It's my favorite product after the Dig It, probably, because it's something that you can sit on when you're in the garden and you don't hurt the plants that are kind of around you because you've got all this flexibility in your movement. You can swivel, you can lean, and that's why it's called the Garden Rocker. I will warn you, though, if you tip back too far, you're going to fall over on this thing. But we use it all the time in the garden. Myself, the kids, the student gardeners, we love the Garden Rocker. Number one, I love the color because it's a green, so it blends in with the garden. And of course, I've got 5 of them, so they're all over in the garden, but they don't stick out. We use them all the time. The seat adjusts up or down, so you can fix, the height that you want for the seat. And then the profile on the bottom is like an upside down tortoise shell, but you're really only putting pressure on the very center part of that shell. So let's say you have to get into a garden bed and do some serious work, serious weeding or landscape fabricing or whatever you're doing, harvesting, I don't know. In any case, if you put the Garden Rocker in the garden, there's just this small little portion of it where the pressure will be applied. And then the plants that are around that will be kind of protected by the shell-like shape of the bottom of this Garden Rocker. So I kind of liken it to a woman's high heel. So if you were wearing a high heel, you'd be putting all the pressure on this tiny little space at the bottom of the shoe. And the Garden Rocker is like that. It kind of concentrates where the pressure goes. Now, if you go to Lowe's, you might actually find that they're selling some that have a cushion on top or a kind of a fabric top to them. Mine, I just get the plain green ones with no fabric, but you can get some that have the cushion top if that's what you're looking for. You can also find them online, but I really, really love the Vertex Garden Rocker, and my student gardeners like it so much that years after they've worked in the garden, they'll give me a call and say, hey, I want to get that rocker for my mom. Where do you get that? So keep this in mind if you know a gardener that maybe has back problems or just knee issues, can't be stooping over in the garden and needs to sit down to do some serious gardening. This is a great product for that. Okay, I talked about these last two products from Ballard Designs on my friend Joanne Shaw's radio show called Down the Garden Path on Reality Radio, which is an internet radio station, and the show's on at 7 p.m. on Monday nights. And the product is their outdoor curtains and their braided jute tiebacks. So the outdoor curtains I got for my front porch. My porch faces north, and I just got some very plain curtain hardware from Lowe's, like the plainest hardware that I could find. And I bought some extra support brackets for in the center of the hardware because, of course, it's stretched, I think, like 124 inches or something across. It's very long. And I bought 6 individual panels for curtains for my porch. It was one of the best decisions I've made to kind of soften the look of my porch and turn it into a bona fide outdoor area that's very, very nice and lovely to sit in during the summer and even in the winter. And then the really fun little touch that I added to this was these braided jute tiebacks that come in sets of 2 from Ballard. They really, really made the look, and they go with my decorating style perfectly. Now, the curtains were a bit of an investment. Honestly, I don't have my receipt to tell you for sure how much I paid per panel, but it's Ballard Design, and I used their outdoor fabric. So these things are so durable. And I got the grommets on the top. So they're really big grommets. They're probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide across. And they slide easily. They're fantastic. And then the braided jute tiebacks look very country. They look like kind of rope tiebacks. And I thought about making them myself. But then I loved this look so much that I just went ahead and used these. I got these for myself. So they're on Ballard Design, and they're $24, and they come in sets of 2. They're the braided jute tiebacks. Okay, now we're going to get real, and we're going to do what a lot of people do as we get closer to Christmas. We're going to order from Amazon. So let's say that desperation time has set in. We couldn't find anything at Goodwill, and we just, despite our best intentions, did not get to a store. Well, all of these items that I'm going to share with you now are available on Amazon. I think they're great gardener gifts. So here we go. In no particular order, by the way, either. The very first thing is something that's on my wish list, and it's the Red Dragon Weed Dragon. And so it's one of those weeders that uses fire. It uses a hot flame, a torch, to take care of weeding. So the one that I like is the Red Dragon VT223C Weed Dragon. It gets 4.5 stars on Amazon, and it's $62.66, and you can prime it. So that's something that I think a lot of gardeners don't have yet. It's a device, a fantastic tool. Mike McGrath talks about it all the time. My goodness, you get to blast your weeds with fire. How much more gratifying could that be? And so it's a little bit of an investment, but it's a really kind of fun, functional gift that I think gardeners would enjoy, myself included. This next gift I actually received by shopping on Craigslist, but I happen to know that it's still available on Amazon because it was new in the box. And this guy had bought a potting bench for his wife on Amazon, and then she didn't use it. So her loss, my gain. And I totally fell in love with it. And one of the things that I really like the best about it is the fact that it's foldable. So I can use it in the summer, and then when I'm done with it in the winter, it folds flat up against the wall, and I can leave it like that outside, or I can tuck it in the garage. It's got a very slim profile, and it's very lovely. So it's on Amazon, and it's by Coral Coast. So it's the Coral Coast Fir Wood Foldable Potting Bench, and it's $89.98, and there's free shipping. So that's on Amazon as well. The next item is something that I bought to help me repair wicker chairs. And if you have a gardener that loves to buy wicker and sometimes is maybe curious about whether or not they could repair the wicker, this is the product you need to get. It sells for about $12, and I like to use the basket flat reed 1/4 inch 1 pound coil. It's approximately 370 feet. And don't pay any attention to the color of the reed that you will be using, because you'll always just spray paint it anyway. And I had the best time 2 summers ago repairing all of my wicker furniture with this coil of wicker repair stuff. So I don't even know what you properly call it, but it's available on Amazon. So you know how the chairs of a lot of your wicker furniture is kind of wrapped around and around with this reed material? Well, that's what this is. And it's so easy to repair that I guarantee you, once you repair wicker, you'll just go crazy. Your mind will be like, oh my gosh, I could buy anything that I see on a garage sale and I could probably repair it thanks to these wonderful products that are now so commonly available online. So how you use it is when you get this material, you soak it in a bucket of water so that it gets soft and pliable. And then you can use it to kind of wrap or cord around your wicker furniture and do some repair work. And then I just spray all my wicker white, so it doesn't matter what color I get. And it looks brand new when you're done, and it lasts. It's fantastic. So it's really, really great. You can Google all these tutorials on how to do it, but this is a great product that you can get on Amazon, and it's something that a gardener would probably be very surprised to get. But if they like wicker and they have some pieces that need to be improved on, this would be the gift for them. This is another gift that you can get on Amazon, and I wanted to walk you through it because a lot of people are unaware that they can use this as a gift on Amazon. And what I'm talking about here is purchasing a Kindle book as a gift for someone. You know, a lot of times, especially this time of year, Kindle books are going to go on sale. You know, a lot of them are free, but then sometimes these really awesome books will have the ebook will be on this massive discount. I know Deborah Madison had a cookbook that went on sale this fall, and I was talking about it on the front end of a lot of the shows that I did because I was trying to promote it. It was such a great deal. But in looking at how to purchase that and how to potentially gift that to friends of mine, I discovered that this is actually something that you can do. So I'm going to walk you through it. So when you're in the Kindle store, all you have to do is select the book that you want to purchase as a gift. And just, of course, if you see a book that's free, you can't gift a free book or a book that's on pre-order. But if it's just a book, let's say it's $2.99 or $4.99, you can buy that book and then gift it to someone. When you're on the product detail page, click the Give as a Gift button and then just enter the personal email address of your gift recipient. Now, let's say that you're not sure of the email address for your recipient. Well, you can select Email the gift to me. That's an option before you place your order. And if you select that option, it's called Email the Gift to Me. This allows you to forward the gift, email, or print and personally deliver it to your recipient. So you've got a couple of options here that I think are really good. Now, the gift recipient can then enter the gift claim code from the email after logging in to their Amazon account, and then they'll have it. Now, here's another nice feature. When you're placing your order, if you did know the email, all you have to do is enter the delivery date and an optional gift message of your choosing, and then just click place your order to finish. So what a great way to get an ebook to someone that is a gardener in your life. And there are so many great gardening resources that are on Kindle nowadays. And I love the fact that now you know about this secret little way to gift Kindle books, because I don't think many people know about it. But it sure makes gift buying affordable because you can totally set your budget and stick with it. And I think you can find some pretty awesome gifts. Ebooks tend to run cheaper anyway than their hardcover counterparts or even their paperback counterparts. So it's a great way to get good content in the hands of the gardener in your life. Now, do me a favor. If you do this, if you use this Kindle book buying technique and you stumble on a gardener book that you think is fantastic and it's very, very affordable, email me and let me know, will you? Well, here's a stocking stuffer idea, and it's very inexpensive, but so used in the garden. And I'm talking about cup hooks and then right angle hooks that gardeners can use for a number of different things of their choosing in the garden. I think these things are so wonderful when you use them in conjunction with, say, a potting bench to put some cup hooks on the end where you can hang tools or gloves or garbage sacks. I even use them on my fence post. I'll put a cup hook or a right angle hook, and then I can hang the garbage bag if I'm cleaning up debris in the garden, or even use it as a temporary place to hold a garden tool while I'm going into another area so I don't lose it. You know, they're not very expensive. They're under $10, but it's something I never have enough of. So if you have a gardener that likes that or you think would like it, I think it would be a great gift. Another thing that would be a great little stocking stuffer and is kind of a decorative item is upholstery tacks. Now, I like to use upholstery tacks in my garden. I'll put it on my fence. I'll put it on the edge of furniture that's outside. So whether it's my potting bench or a table, like a garden table that's outside, it kind of dresses it up a little bit to put upholstery tacks out there. And it's something unexpected. It kind of sets your pieces apart. And who says they only have to be used for indoor furniture anyway? So again, these things are not very expensive, and you can find all different sizes and colors by looking online at Amazon, and you can prime them for sure. You can get them at Hobby Lobby, or even Target now, I think, carries upholstery tacks. In any case, it's a fun little stocking stuffer, and maybe add a note with it to the gardener to say, hey, I thought you could use this on your potting bench, or I thought you might like to use this on your garden bench outside as a way to dress it up. So give them some ideas if you've got a gardener that's maybe not as creative but would like to be. These are great little accessories that you can give them for not a lot of money, and it can totally transform the look of some of their outdoor furniture. Something I always appreciate getting is mosquito netting. Mosquito netting and burlap. And you can go on Amazon and get both of those things. They make great skirting for outdoor tables and tablecloths for outdoor events. They're so versatile and they're so accessible and affordable on Amazon. So give those a try as well. And I'm going to share with you really quickly one of my ideas for how I use burlap. I love to take burlap and cut it into little squares, and then I use those as a buffer between my terracotta pots when I stack them. It does a couple of things. One, it protects the pots from cracking because there's a little bit of space. They don't get wedged inside one another. And the other thing it does is you have this burlap that kind of ages, so it looks really cool when it's sticking out of the rim of the pot when they're nested. So that looks really cool. And then every now and then I leave the burlap in the bottom of the pot after I've pulled it out of the pot that it was nested in, because it's going to help keep the soil inside the pot and not slip through that huge, quarter-sized hole in the bottom of the terracotta pot. So burlap, I think, can really dress up a terracotta pot. And, even sometimes I'll leave it in there and I have the burlap come up and over the side of the terracotta pot. It's just peeking over, usually about an inch and a half. So consider that as an option You could even gift some terracotta pots with the burlap if you want. Well, here's a little piece of tech that I got online for my dad, actually, and he loves this. And I was thinking about gardeners when I ordered this for him. It's an iPhone case, but what makes it really special are a couple of features. One, it has a very heavy-duty holster on it. So he has the iPhone 6S Plus. So it's the bigger phone, and it's hard to find a holster for that larger phone. And then it also has a built-in credit card slot clip. And I was thinking about gardeners as I was ordering this for him, because a lot of times you want a spot for your phone and you don't want to get it dirty. So this phone would allow you to clip it onto your waist, and it would be there to be accessible, but it wouldn't be getting dirty and it wouldn't be getting bent or broken by being in your pocket or in your apron pocket. And I love the fact that it's got the little credit card clip inside to hold a credit card, because let's say you have to run off to a hardware store and get something when you're out in the garden. It's the perfect phone for that. And this thing is like $12 or $10 or something. It's insanely affordable. So if you go to Amazon, look up the Cell B rigid metal dual layer heavy duty holster with the built-in credit card slot clip case, and it even comes with a kickstand. So there you go. I don't know what more you can want. It's fantastic. Oh, I love to see this next gift on my list. It's something that it's one of my favorite things, and I give it an awful lot. It's the little Chefin Stem Gem Strawberry Huller. So it retails for about $7 and looks like 87 cents on Amazon. And it looks kind of like a little strawberry. And what it does is you can very quickly pull the stem out of strawberries with this strawberry huller. So I love to give it as a stocking stuffer or a little gift. I got it for my mother-in-law. I got it for my own mom. I think I have 2 in my kitchen so that the kids can help me and we can go double time through the strawberries. But it's a great gift for veggie gardeners and fruit gardeners. If somebody got a strawberry patch going this summer, this would be a very fun gift for them. You know, we talked before about the cafe lights that are available at, let's see, I think it was Walmart and World Market. Well, I just settle for the plain ones sometimes. So I've got a couple of loops of just the regular old cafe lights, and I actually bought them on Amazon. But my tip for you is to go to Amazon and get the 25 pack of replacement light bulbs. So if you have someone that you know uses cafe lights in their garden, they would really appreciate the replacement pack of 25 light bulbs. And they've got the perfect base, and they work really great. So for $16 on Amazon, you could get them the replacement light bulbs, and they're also available on Amazon Prime as well. Okay, now this next thing is, well, it's technically probably not too terribly gardeny, but I love it and I do wear it in my garden. And that is this fabulous, I call it my CC stocking cap, but it's a slouchy knit oversized beanie cap. And I see them actually at a boutique store here in town, and they're selling them for double than what they are on Amazon, and they're adorable, and they come in gobs of colors, and you can get them in a 2-pack or a single pack, but they're my absolute favorite winter hat. They're great, and I can't say enough about them. They're wonderful. Anybody, gardener or otherwise, would love getting these hats. So if you look them up on Amazon, look up Luxury Divas hat, and I love the charcoal color one. I also love the ivory one, and then I think I have a black one, but they really are wonderful. Now, something I ordered on Amazon last year that was really fun to get in January or February, but would also make a fantastic Christmas gift, is I ordered a Hinterland Trading Air Plant Collector's Edition set. So this box came from Amazon, and I opened it up, and it had, I think, about 12 air plants in it, all different kinds, shapes, sizes, what have you. And it was just really, really fun. Now it includes this little spray bottle of a formula that you can spray on the air plants to keep them happy. And it also suggests that you can buy some super moss if you want, so that if you're putting them in those adorable little glass bulb vases that, they've got this sweet little home, you could buy those as well. But I have to say, one of the loveliest little packages that I got from Amazon last year was this one that was full of these air plants, and I was very surprised. The quality was fantastic. So the cost for these, before I forget, is $32. And again, just look up Hinterland Trading Air Plant Collector Editions set. Ooh, here is something that even my husband loves, and it's this bear paw hand cleaner. And it is the best hand cleaner. If you come in out of the garden and your hands are really bad, this stuff works great. It's got this nice grit to it, and it smells great, and it makes your hands so, so soft. And I get the big 40-ounce tub, and then I just refill my little container. But you could put it in a little sealed jar by your kitchen sink and then refill it with this 40-ounce tub. You're going to want the 40-ounce tub, I guarantee it, because you're going to fall in love with this product. So it's called Bear Paw Hand Cleaner, the 40-ounce tub. It's $23.78 on Amazon. It has free shipping, and it's fantastic, and it's a really, really, really nice product for the gardener in your life. Okay, now this next one is a product that I bought out of necessity, but sometimes it's really nice to have a referral on a trimmer. And so this is a weed trimmer and edger that I bought on Amazon, and it's by BLACK+DECKER. So it's the BLACK+DECKER LST 420 20-volt max lithium high performance trimmer and edger, and it's the 12-inch. And I actually got it based on my neighbor's recommendation. He used to have a steel gas trimmer. And because he had a steel gas trimmer, then I got a steel gas trimmer. The only difference is he has upper body strength and knows how to fix small engines, and I don't have upper body strength and I don't know how to fix small engines. So I was always supremely frustrated with this steel trimmer. I'm sure there was absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I was really out of my element. So when he went to this BLACK+DECKER trimmer, I'm watching him just whip around his yard because the thing is so light and it's cordless. And so I finally stopped him and I'm like, Harry, what is that? What brand is it? Tell me everything. And he gave me all the information, and I ordered it on Amazon, and I'm so glad that I did because it's my absolute favorite trimmer ever, and I'll never go back to a gas trimmer after having this trimmer. And it's $99 on Amazon, and to me it was worth every penny. So if you have the gardener in your life that's got a trimmer that's giving them fits all the time, or they need a trimmer, this would be a great option. Or let's say you're going to wait till your trimmer dies and you need one later in the year, come back to this episode and listen to this recommendation for this trimmer because I just absolutely love it. Oh, next one is really, really fun. And I had talked to my mom about it. Actually, she had told me about it because she'd seen a segment on our local TV station where they took soup cans, tomato soup cans, chicken noodle soup cans, doesn't matter, took the wrapper off and then put birch paper around the outside and then transformed the common soup can into a lovely winter birch container. So what I found online on Amazon is this birch paper garland, and it comes in these 84-inch rolls. So you can really go to town on soup cans, or for instance, like big tomato cans. Like if you get the big whole tomato can, that would look adorable with the birch paper around it. And then don't forget, if you're going to adhere this birch paper, this birch garland around the can, that as a nice touch, you can add some twine and just tie the twine around the middle. It looks adorable. And then just imagine if you put some winter greens in there or some berries, what have you. Oh my gosh, splendid. Okay, so speaking of birch, these birch paper straws, they're disposable straws, come in a box of 144, and I saw them at a specialty shop last winter, and then I got lucky because they ended up getting clearanced, and so I bought a box for a January party that we had, and the kids loved them, the guests loved them. They are just so sweet. So you can find them on Amazon. Just look for Kickerland biodegradable paper straws birch, and you get 144, and they're $9. They're really, really cute and definitely very wintry and a nice addition to any party. Well, I'm going to share with you my absolute favorite, hands down favorite outdoor seat cushions. So I've got these wicker chairs that I've repaired, and now I get my seat cushions for almost all of my outdoor furniture from Amazon. And this is my absolute favorite print, and it's a black and beige damask seat cushion. So I'm going to include the link for this in the show notes, but it's absolutely glorious, and I put it on my white wicker and people go crazy for it. And then I get the little pillows for the lumbar support on the back as well. They're just, what do I want to say? Well, they have a designer look to them, which is why I suppose I fell in love with them. But give it a go. I love the quality, and Amazon sells them in a 2-pack. So for 2 of them, they cost $40. So it's, let's see here, if I'm going to look up the title for you, they're called the Amazon Pillow Perfect Indoor Outdoor Black Beige Damask Wicker Seat Cushions. And the ones that I get are the 19-inch length, and they come in the 2-pack, and they're $40. Okay, here's something I use in the garden almost every time I'm out there, and I think it's a great thing to keep in your garden tote. And what I'm talking about is a 40-foot roll of vine-wrapped rustic feel craft wire. So imagine if you had a craft wire that almost looked like tree bark or like a wooden stem. That's how camouflaged this wire is. It's just super. So if you have to secure something or tie something or repair something, this is a fantastic product. It's $6-7 on Amazon, and it's tremendous. I couldn't get by without it. So it comes already wrapped up. You can use it for decorating. You can use it for crafts. You can use it for designing. And I love to use it in the garden. You know, sometimes how you have a garden tool and it's got that little hole for a little piece of string to go through so you can hang it up, except every time you go to hang it up, the string is twisted on itself, so you really can't hang it. Well, you can take this lovely wired craft wire, I guess, and put it through there and make a loop. And then you've got this almost like this very rigid kind of permanent looking loop on the end, and you never have to worry about it twisting up on itself, and it looks really nice with some of your garden tools. So if you've run into that problem, this is a great solution for it, and you'll find so many things to do with this. I won't even need to give you any more suggestions because things will just come to mind. It's tremendous. This next gift is something that I actually had a couple of babysitters get for their moms because we used it here all the time, and kids love to use this item. And I encourage gardeners, especially when they're indoors in the winter, to have things like this that get kids interested in taking care of plants. And what I'm talking about is a water spray bottle, one of those vintage decorative plant misters. So I usually do an open top terrarium in our downstairs bathroom, and then next to that I keep the plant mister. So usually in that terrarium I'll put baby tears or something that would like to be misted. And then the kids, when they're in there, they can mist the plant. So it's kind of a nice little item. This one, the reason I liked it, it's $14. It's $13.99. And and it's on Amazon, and it's very simple. It's got a glass bottom and kind of an antique vintage kind of looking top, and it works. There's nothing wrong with it. And so for $14, you've got this adorable little glass water spray bottle that's fantastic. So the title of it is called the My Gift Vintage Style Clear Glass Water Spray Bottle and Decorative Plant Mister with Top Pump. And it's $14 on Amazon. All right, this next one is a doormat. It's a monogrammed doormat that's sold on Amazon, and it kind of will dress up your front porch. So I'm kind of chuckling here because you're going to get familiar with my style, so the things that I enjoy. And so you can now shop for me, basically, after going through this episode. But here's the deal. I love this rug. I did get this for my in-laws. That's how much I love it. And it's $17 on Amazon, but it looks so classic and luxurious. When I see this rug, this doormat, I think of walking into a high-end hotel or something for the weekend, or a spa or something. It looks that nice, and it's only $17. So it's Creative Accents, heavy duty, half round, and then it says Core Bella doormat, and it's 22 by 36 inch, and then you can monogram it. So, of course, I got mine monogrammed with an E, and my in-laws as well, and it's great. Nice quality, happy with it, love it. You know, if you have not used this next gift idea, you are in for a treat, because it's the Baby Foot Original Exfoliant Foot Peel. Now, the first time I used it, I was very skeptical, because you basically put your feet in these plastic booties, and then you sit around like that for a little bit. Now, what I did is I put the booties on, and then of course, I have to get up and walk and do something, which you shouldn't do because you're in a plastic booty and you kind of slip around. You can fall. So don't do what I did. But every time I do this, I try to tempt fate. And because I'm slipping and sliding, I'll usually get a roll of duct tape and kind of duct tape these things on my feet. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but that's what I do. So what happens is you put your foot in this plastic booty, and I think the active ingredient is citric acid. So what it's doing is it's helping to slough off the dead skin cells that are at the bottom of your feet, but it doesn't happen right away, and that's what I didn't realize. So I put these things on my feet, and then I'm doing laundry, and I'm watching TV with the kids, and I'm folding clothes, and then after I think an hour or two of TV, I went in the bathroom and I rinsed my feet off, and I thought I'd have baby feet. Oh no, that's not what happens. You do get the baby soft feet, but after about a week or so, your feet start to peel. All that dead skin falls off. And the next thing you know, you have just these amazing feet, like, oh my gosh, awesome. And I can't stand, my feet are really sensitive, and I can't stand when you're at the nail salon and they use the pumice stone on your feet, or they try to sand the bottom of your feet. I go crazy. I start laughing. I'm squirming. I can't handle it. And so this is such a much better option for me, because I can take care of my feet without having to deal with all the stuff that goes on in the salon. But I think it's a great gardener gift, because how many of us go out into the garden barefoot or in our flip-flops, which we shouldn't be doing. It's not good for our feet, and yet we do because we get distracted by something. Well, this baby foot gift is the answer from Amazon, and it's $16.37, and you get this foot peel, and you get one pair. And it's an Amazon bestseller. So many of you probably already know about it, but if you don't, hey, guess what? You cannot go wrong with this. I think a lot of people would tell you that they love this product. I do. And you can get the single pack for $16.37. Have it shipped off to the gardener in your life that could use a foot peel. Okay, let's see what's up next here. We have, oh gosh, I have such a fun little idea for you here. This is for the gardener that's lost a ring in the garden. Oh my gosh, what a sad day to lose a ring out in the garden, which should be your happy place, and then becomes like this place of panic when you've lost something like a ring. God forbid it's a wedding ring. Well, I tell you what, there is a product that I got called the Ring Snuggie on Amazon, and it's so inexpensive. It's insane. It is $4.74. I kid you not. So you buy this package of Ring Snuggies, and they're these little plastic tubes that you kind of slip on to the ring band, and it tightens the ring up. So if you have a loose ring and you're in the garden, it's a way to secure your ring, and I use it all the time. I like to wear costume jewelry a lot, and I'm usually in between sizes, and sometimes I would forget, and I'm wearing this ring, and then I'm throwing on a pair of gardening gloves, and then I pull the gloves off, and of course the ring falls off, and I no longer have to worry about my rings or losing my rings because I've got this wonderful product, and I usually buy it a couple of times a year because I put the Snuggies on certain rings and then I can't remember what ring I had it on, and then pretty soon I don't have enough of them. So you get a package of them, and they're called Ring Snuggies, the original ring adjuster, and it comes in assorted sizes, and I use them and I absolutely love them. So give that a try. It's kind of a fun little gift that you could tuck in this garden basket if you're giving that, or if you're doing something for your gardening friend, like an assortment of little things that they can tuck into their garden tote. The Ring Snuggie would be a good option. This next one is something that would make Mike McGrath so happy. I know it makes me deliriously happy, and that is my ginormous bag of super coarse perlite that I use to lighten my soil. And I just can't say enough about it. What's fun about this is that it comes in this huge bag. So I get the 100-liter planted super coarse perlite. It's huge when it comes. It's probably as big as a small garbage can when it arrives in the box from Amazon. And you think it's going to be this huge heavy box, and it's just light as air because, of course, perlite is so light. And what I like to do is put it inside a coffee bag to kind of disguise the fact that it's in this big, ugly plastic bag. And we'll get to coffee bags in a minute. But this perlite is like $35. $36, something like that. And like I say, you get a huge bag of it. So if you were gifting this to a gardener, you could get one of those big red Santa bags that they sell at the big box stores and put this in there. And I think it's a great gift for any gardener. It's lightweight. So, I mean, even grandma can carry this bag of perlite, but people should use it, and people should probably use more than they think they should use in their garden. So what I like about giving somebody this really large bag is that hopefully they'll feel like they have plenty, and they will go ahead and use an ample amount of it in their garden beds next year, because it does so many fantastic things for plants. And I'm a huge convert. I love perlite. I can't get enough of it. And I probably order, I don't know, a bag every month when I'm gardening in the summer. I just love it so much. It's a great, great gift. Okay, well, my next gift idea is something that I originally started getting on Amazon, and now I know that I can get it from my local Dunn Brothers coffee shop because they resell these after they're done using them, and that is used coffee bags, used burlap coffee bags. I have discovered that I like to reuse these bags and repurpose them to kind of camouflage things that I would like to be able to set around outside without people knowing that it's a gardening product, or have it scream, hey, you know, this is a gardening thing that's too big to fit in the garage. So what I'll do is, for instance, I might have a bucket of paint that I'm going to use to paint the fence. Well, I'll just slip a burlap coffee bag over the top of it. And now it looks like a cute little bag of coffee instead of an ugly paint bucket, like a big, 5-10 gallon paint bucket sitting outside in my backyard. Or this big bag of perlite, I'll just tuck it, slip it right inside the burlap coffee bag, just like it's a pillowcase. And it will mask the fact that it's in this big, white, ugly, plastic bag. And instead, it's in this really adorable, cute little coffee bag that says, Guatemalan coffee or, what have you. And it's just adorable. So it makes some things that are maybe unattractive sitting out less unattractive, actually kind of cute. And you can get a 10-pack of used burlap coffee bags for $20 on Amazon, but you can get them even cheaper from a lot of local coffee shops. So check on that. Check with your local coffee shop supplier. If they don't have them, you can certainly get them on Amazon. What really kills you on the Amazon deal here, because I don't know who the seller is, it doesn't list, but the shipping on these is really atrocious. It's $15.95 for the shipping. So the cost of the product's not so bad. They're $2 a bag. But then when you throw on $16 for shipping, you kind of get a little discouraged. But they're great. I use them all the time. And I did actually pay the $16 for shipping the first time I got them before I realized I could get them from my local coffee shop. All right. Are you getting a little low energy? Do you need a coffee? Should we stop before we continue shopping? That's what we would be doing in real life. Well, let's finish up here. We're in the home stretch for our Amazon shopping. And one of the gifts that I bought on Amazon that I was really tickled about was a rain chain, because I was in this kind of high-end department store and they had this rain chain that I really liked. And then here I looked, and on Amazon, I could find the exact same rain chain for a fraction of the price. And I was just absolutely giddy. And I love rain chains, and I think that the aesthetic that they add to the garden is so wonderful. And oftentimes you'll hear visitors to your garden comment on a rain chain if you have one. So if you know of a gardener that doesn't have one, but that does have a spot for one, that's the key. They've got to have a spot. Then this would be a really excellent gift. And you can find rain chains on Amazon that range in price from $40 all the way up to $100 and more, depending on the type of chain that you get. Okay, this next gift is maybe not the best Christmas present in the whole entire world, but it's so functional and I use it all the time. And I think gardeners would truly appreciate it. And that is disposable booties, especially if you're wearing boots or some type of difficult to take on and off shoe and you need to quickly get into your house. A box of disposable booties from Amazon can mean the difference between getting in your house and going to the bathroom or getting a drink or a Kleenex or whatever it is that you need without destroying your carpet or falling over and hurting yourself because you're trying to take your dirty old boot off and you need to get in the house quickly. So disposable booties is my suggestion. And you can get like a box of even 300 if you want it. I don't think you need to get that many, but just get a smaller set. I think gardeners would really appreciate this gift. I know once I started keeping these right outside my front door, right next to my paper towels in my garage. So easy, and I love it. I use them all the time. Now, the kind that I get, just in case you're interested, is the best-selling one that's on Amazon, and it comes in a 50-pack. So it's got 100 individual booties or 50 pairs of disposable boot and shoe covers, and it's one size fits all up to extra large. So they're $12.50. They're by Cleaning, and it's cleaning. The brand is Cleaning Pairs, and just look up the disposable booty as the search term in Amazon, and these will come right up. They'll be at the top of the list, and it'll have the little orange flag next to it that says best seller. I just love the items that we're going to be talking about now. The first one is this set of two 12-ounce scoops. So they're dry bin scoops or dry goods scoops. You could use them for candy or spices or what have you. And they're aluminum, so you can leave them outside. Now, I have these scoops that I leave in bins that have holes at the bottom where I put extra soil or compost. I will put them inside my perlite coffee bag so that I can scoop out my perlite when I need it. I have these galvanized tubs where I'll do a lot of my potting work, and I'll just leave a couple of these scoops inside so that when I need to pot things up, they're already there. These are fantastic scoops. They're $7.25 on Amazon. They are a bestseller. You can prime them, and they come in a set of two, so they're like $3 a piece. They're fantastic. Oh my gosh, they're lovely, and they would look so cute with a bow on them for Christmas. So consider getting the set of two 12-ounce scoops, the cast aluminum. So they're totally fine to be outside. Okay, we've got two to go, and this next one is fun. Something different in the garden. You know, gardeners love little totes and things to tuck some of their favorite gardening items in. And the thing that I really fell in love with after seeing it in kind of a mechanic magazine is a parachute bag. Now, a parachute bag is like a leather pouch that you open up, and then it's got all of these little compartments inside. And I love putting a bunch of stuff inside of them, and then I can stack them inside a 5-gallon pail. They're such a great way to store and carry any type of small little gardening pieces and parts that need to be kept separate. So I'm going to give you an example here. The irrigation fittings and parts for my drip irrigation are all in a parachute bag. It's a great way to store those things because I used to put them in a tackle box, and the only thing that would happen is occasionally someone would come along and then kick the tackle box, and then all of those little compartments get all jumbled up. That doesn't happen in a parachute bag. And the other thing that I like about a parachute bag is that it can accommodate bigger pieces, and especially with drip irrigation, sometimes you end up with parts and pieces that have weird right angles, or they're really big, or they're heavy, like they're brass fittings or something like that. And a parachute bag can accommodate all of that. So I actually use multiple parachute bags. I put my pieces and parts for all of my irrigation, for my fountains, for my drip irrigation, for everything that I do, my misters, it's all together. And then when we need to access that, it's all in the parachute bag. So they're fantastic. You can find them on Amazon. They range in price from $11 all the way up to $40, $50, depending on the type that you want. And they're fantastic. And a lot of them are available on Prime as well. Okay, I've saved the best for last, and it's something that I regularly buy on Amazon and I use in my life, in my house, in my garden, and I can't get enough of it because it is something that helps me repair things, and it's called Sugru. SUGRU, and it's available on Amazon, and it's a moldable glue. And you can buy it in a ton of different colors, but I prefer to buy it in black or snow white. So the colors that I get, they come in a pack. So I get it in a pack of 8, and the colors are pitch black or snow white. Now, I tend to store the Sugru in a little glass jar in my fridge because I read on the packaging that if you store it in the refrigerator, it will last longer. But I want to tell you about why I love Sugru and how I've used it in my garden. First of all, Sugru, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the product. It is a self-setting rubber formed by hand, and it cures at room temperature overnight. So when you open up a packet of Sugru, it comes in these small foil pouches. They're about a little bit bigger than the size of a stick of gum. And you cut open the packet, and inside is going to be the Sugru product, and it's going to look like a tiny little chunk of Play-Doh in either white or black or whatever color you bought it in. But it is a serious adhesive. It bonds to anything. It will bond to aluminum, steel, ceramics, glass, wood, and even fabrics. And it's also removable from most non-porous surfaces. Here's the fantastic thing about it. It's waterproof. It's UV resistant. It's electrically insulating. And it's dishwasher proof when cured. It's almost indestructible. And it's bendable to any color and temperature resistant from 58 below zero, which comes in handy when you live in Minnesota, to 356 degrees Fahrenheit. It's phenomenal. And I was introduced to this product by my tech person that comes to my house a couple times a year to help me with my computer and my setup here. And he had discovered it, and he knew that I was kind of a gadget girl. And I immediately ordered it. I didn't even question him. I thought, okay, if he says I'm going to love it, I'm going to love it. And it's changed my life because I have 4 kids and the dog, and things are constantly needing to be repaired around here. And Sugru has allowed me to repair things that I would have gone bananas trying to repair in the past, although I would have really put myself through the paces to try to repair things because I kind of see it as a personal challenge. But Sugru makes it so easy sometimes you feel like you're cheating because it's just that great of a product. So let me give you some examples of things that I've repaired with Sugru, especially out in the garden, that I think are, just tremendous examples of what it can do for you. Just last night, I was setting up some decorations on the front porch for Christmas, and I had this really beautiful ceramic pot that was supposed to fit inside an iron ring where it was hanging on the wall. And the rim of this pot had cracked, and for the past 2 years, the pot would still hang there, but I knew that it was kind of precarious, that it wasn't really holding it correctly. Now, I could have glued it, but of course, with glue, you're always wondering, how long is it going to last? Is it going to be able to withstand time and weather and things like that? Well, Sugru will. And not only that, it's easier to work with. Sometimes if you have a piece of pottery and you're trying to use regular glue, it's either too porous to hold the glue or it is too precarious. And with Sugru being the consistency of dough, basically, you can just hold the item in the place where you want it, attach Sugru to it, and it just sticks. There's no propping it up. There's no balancing act waiting for it to dry. It just immediately is doing what you want it to do, which is hold that item in place. So I fixed this container that had been out on my porch for, I'm not kidding you, 2 years in that shape, and all of a sudden now it's rock solid. It's fantastic, and I don't have to worry about it again. And the best part of it is now that it's cured, because it cured overnight, it needs 24 hours to cure in the house at room temperature. Now it's outside and it's freezing cold, but it doesn't matter because Sugru can handle the elements in Minnesota. So I love it. Another way that I've used Sugru is to do fountain repair. So if you have a cracked fountain or you have something that's chipped or damaged in the garden, you can almost always repair it with Sugru. And then especially if it's painted, apply a coat of paint over the top of it, and no one will know. It's almost like you have a brand new item. So one of my favorite things to do now, don't tell anybody, is I love to go to some of my favorite garden decorating places. and I'll go in the clearance area or the odds and ends area, and I'll buy something that I know is broken, but that I can easily repair with Sugru. I'm going to give you an example. I bought a wooden reindeer head. So it looked like a mounted reindeer, except it was all made of wood, and it was just adorable, except his poor antler had broken in half. And they were going to glue it. They're like, oh, we can glue it for you. I'm like, no, please don't glue it for me. Because I knew that when I got home, I would much rather have it Sugrued together than have it glued together and have glue oozing out over the sides of it and just messing the whole thing up. So here I ended up getting it for 50% off, and I was tickled to death because I knew that it was going to be good as new when I got home and I was able to use Sugru on it. So yay! Something else that I've done with it for this time of year that I think works really, really well, and especially on things that I think are very prone to breakage and also seemed sometimes to be irreparable, and that's Christmas ornaments. So I have a big tree and I love Christmas ornaments, and I don't think there's a year where we've put up a tree where we don't occasionally break a Christmas ornament. Well, now with Sugru, it doesn't faze me at all because I know that I will be able to repair it. And I love to use the snow white Sugru with it because a lot of times ornaments will look like they have a little bit of snow on them. So the snow white Sugru blends in perfectly. But I had this one Hallmark ornament that had a little elf standing on the world, and he was blowing a trumpet, and it was for joy to the world. And the little trumpet that he was blowing on had broken off, and we'd lost the piece. And I don't know why I hung on to that dumb thing, but I did. And I was so tickled with myself this time last year because that's about the time I started using Sugru. And wouldn't you know, I fashioned a little end of a trumpet using Sugru. And then I got out a gold metallic Sharpie and I painted the horn like it was the gold metal of a brass horn, the way that it had been when it was new out of the package. And when people would come to the house, I'd show them the ornament and I'd say, hey, guess what part I repaired on here? And no one could believe that that horn was not original to the ornament. So that's how creepy good Sugru can be when you're doing repair. I'll give you one more example of how I've used it in the garden. And hopefully it's something that you can get for yourself, but also for the gardener in your life to help them repair things outside. And that is, I had a really sweet little concrete statue of a garden angel. And the wings had broken off this angel, one wing and then the next. And initially, before I knew about Sugru, I had attempted to glue it into place, and it just would never adhere because, of course, concrete being the way that it is. And it was so discouraging, but I couldn't bear to part with it. So here I've got this wingless, very sad-looking angel with chunks of concrete kind of pouring out of it. It just was not looking good. And I was really ready to probably throw it out in the spring. And then I discovered Sugru. And I had the little chunks of concrete that had come out. So it was so easy for me to reattach the wings and then fill the spaces in with concrete that had the little concrete chunks that had fallen out. It looks like it's brand new again. And I'm deliriously happy that it works and that it's repaired and that it can be life-giving again instead of, something that's kind of sad or regretful in the garden. So I encourage you to try out Sugru, a pack of 8, which is what I usually get. In fact, I think I have it on subscription here, is $15. And I get the pack of 8. So I get 4 white and 4 black, and I keep them in the fridge. And when I need to repair something, it's the first thing that I reach for. I had just had a laundry basket, in fact, yesterday that broke, and I did not throw that laundry basket away. I repaired it with my white Sugru, and no one will ever know. And I swear it's stronger than ever. So it's lovely. I keep a running pile now, a little box where I put the things that I need to repair with Sugru, and then I just have a Sugru day, and I fix it all with Sugru, and then I move on. But it's truly, truly wonderful. I can't endorse it enough, and I know that the gardener in your life will appreciate it. The people in your life will appreciate it. It's a fun little stocking stuffer, and it really does live up to the hype. Well, that is it. That's my huge long list of things to buy for the gardener in your life, or maybe even for yourself. Well, that's it for the show today. I want to thank David Myers, I'm Kadena, and David Gregerson, my team at Podfly Productions, for helping me get the show together every single week. And just a reminder that I'll have all the information from today's show, links to all of these fabulous gifts on my website at 6footmama.com. That's the number 6, FTMAMA.com. And you can find it all under the Still Growing tab. And then just look for today's episode. It's episode 550 on my website. Click on that and you'll have everything you need to know in order to get these gifts for the gardener in your life. And don't forget, if you really like the show, I'd like to invite you to join the Still Growing podcast group on Facebook. So all you have to do is go to Facebook and search Still Growing podcast group, and our group will pop right up. And then even though it looks like it's a closed group, all you have to do is request to join. And then once I verify that you're not a spammer or a robot, I'll admit you. And then you can be in the group with listeners of the show and with guests of the show, and share your garden stories and interact with the guests, the really awesome guests that have been on Still Growing. I know they're happy to interact and answer any questions that you might have. And here's the secret. It's also where I post all of the really awesome promotions and garden giveaways from my guests and sponsors. So go ahead, check it out. I'd love to meet you in the Still Growing podcast group on Facebook. For next week's show, I'm interviewing Robin Parer. She's the author of The Plant Lover's Guide to Hardy Geraniums. Now, these are the true geraniums. They're not the red geraniums that your grandmother planted with the little spiky plant and then maybe some of that ferny stuff, asparagus fern coming off the side of the plant. These are the true hardy geraniums that Robin sells and grows in her nursery, along with the pelargoniums, the red geraniums that most of us think of when we hear the term geranium. But this is a delightful interview, and I learned so much from Robin about pelargoniums and the true hardy geraniums. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you next week. Until then, have a great week, everyone, and happy shopping. Still Growing with Jennifer Ebling is a 6footmama.com production made in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. Still Growing is a weekly gardening podcast dedicated to helping you and your garden grow.